Hello, everybody. I'm Zach,
I'm Alex.
and welcome to The Comic Central.
So in today's video, as you saw in the title, we are talking about the sort of battle or war of manga versus comics.
Yep.
So
This would be a good one.
yeah, I guess let's just get into it. This is gonna sort of be like an argumentative debate at points, and partially just us agreeing.
Yeah.
But this will get heated.
It'd be a little bit of both. I don't know if heated is the word. Okay. Why are you looking at me like that? I don't know if heated is the right word, but we're definitely going to be discussing about it.
I don't know. It might get I don't know what'll happen. So we'll find out.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's hear your first point.
Okay, so my first point this is sort of a better sort of video. A better feature of comics is multiple creators. Of a thing that has been amazing, and my example I'm going to use here is the X-Men. So originally the X-Men created Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. They were like not very interesting, and along with Roy Thomas, and they got canceled.
Yeah. And then they went on to other writers, other illustrators, such as
Chris Claremont, starting with the Dave Cockrum, Len Wein, Giant Size X-Men 1. This was in 1975, which restarted sort of the modern day since they had only been doing reprints for the last 5 years. And then, so what happened after that? People were loving it and enjoying it. To add another layer to it, in the 2000s, you have New X-Men by Grant Morrison, with various artists, the main one being Frank Quietly, which added new dynamics like Emma Frost being a member of the X-Men and not a villain.
Yeah. With there being different artists, that is really cool. I enjoy seeing many different versions of a team interpreted by different artists and writers. For example, Spider-Man has been written and illustrated many, many, many times. And if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have gotten good Spider-Man like the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's been sort of changing and evolving. Spider-Man, I've sort of been learning about that and how it's changed. And Spider-Man, and I'm happy that it has been able to change because Spider-Man, it took there's the original Stan Lee, Steve Ditko. Then John Romita went on and did his own take, which was great. But for a good 20 years after Romita started, Spider-Man art didn't change until Todd McFarlane and all those guys came on.
Yeah. So, first point, I gotta say, goes to comics here. Because comics, being able to have different point of views and being able to write different characters through different lenses with different art styles is a very unique thing. And manga artists sometimes do it. After Akira Toriyama's passing, there was Ichiro Oda, creator of One Piece. He made some tribute art to Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball. And they did crossovers all the time where they would draw each other's characters and stuff, but it isn't the same as, say, someone picking up a series from when another writer and author or illustrator came off.
Yeah, as sort of a creator of it would be for this One Piece for this One Piece volume, it's sort of just story and art, one creator along with the inks and pencils is all done by the same, and the art can just in general be more simplistic as he's having to write, or he or her is having to write and do the art for everything. While in comics here, we have a good example is this Justice League with Jim Lee, with Jeff Johns writing, and then Jim Lee, and then Scott Williams, who is his favorite inker and colorist, where you get color and you get creative teams where they're able to just express more and put more focus to their art, and this great panel of Darkseid breaking Green Lantern's arm.
I will say, however, doubling back, that sometimes having different writers and illustrators is a bad thing. For example, Zeb Wells' Spider-Man.
Yes.
Not really perceived well.
You do other stuff good, man. You can write some really good mutant stuff. Like you've had some good New Mutants books, along with his Hellions and Krakoa. I've heard great. For Zeb Wells, he also was one of the writers for Deadpool Wolverine. Yeah, he was one of the writers for Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's awesome.
Which does have similar tropes, like Deadpool losing his girlfriend.
Yep, that is true. But it's kind of a downside occasionally. Like, and then there was the X-Men story with Onslaught. I haven't heard great things about that one, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, ask Uncanny Omar about that. He would not be happy.
So, I've seen things like that, whereas manga, normally it is a cohesive storyline, and the guy knows what he wants to do, and they do it well.
Yeah, another thing is interference with editors. One of the main things I like to think of is the Batwoman scandal of New 52, where J.H. Williams, and I forgot his other main creator on that, was wanting to have Kate Kane get married to Maggie Sawyer in that book, where they said, no, it's not happening. Mm-hmm. Like, DC was like, no, and they couldn't have any creative control. This is a major thing in New 52, of they just couldn't do it. It's like now, what editors have said is that Peter Parker and Mary Jane can't get married again after one more day. So it's just in, like, a constant rubber band of going back to the same status quo for, like, ever, which can be very much frustrating.
However, that being said, I still agree with the comics giving more people the chance to write these iconic characters. Like, all the X-Men, they are insanely iconic, from Cyclops to Storm, Colossus. Everyone knows Wolverine. Like, all these characters, people getting to write them in their own way and give their own spin on the character is invaluable. And
it gives sort of other interpretations of the character, and it can even be changed sort of slowly in that, and you can just get more runs from different writers that can be exciting in different points of their time. So, do you have a point to go next?
Well, we'll get into the next point. My next point, cost. Comics are pretty expensive to get into, and it's hard to find where to start. For example, you see all of these different Batmans right here, and you don't know which continuity leads into the next, or which one to start with. And they're expensive, those big versions, and even some of, like, the smaller paperback ones are like $16-17 a piece.
Yeah, now they're like 20 at some points.
Yeah.
But I think we'll talk about cost first as the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at something like the standard manga volume, I think it's gone up in price from now, but this is $10. Is this manga volume, which gets you all three chapters.
Yeah. Gets you around 200 pages. 210 pages of panels.
Yeah. Now, comic pages are bigger. So the money difference is comic pages are bigger. It doesn't get you as much, it gets you a bit less. It gets you more around 150 but a cool thing it does give is extras at the end of stuff like character designs at the back, along with, again, the colored pages and this really nice glossy paper that has, like, that nice shine and glare, which looks great, but it is more expensive. But there's now an exception to this, which is the DC Compact Editions, new this year, where DC has now tried to fix their problem with making, instead of having, trade paperbacks like this, where they're sort of bigger, they've decided, hey, manga sales are going up and they're really, really cheap and efficient. Mm-hmm. They've decided, hey, let's put stories that are around this length and put them in these editions for around the same price. And for $10, you get in color. You can get some of the best comic stories. And I'll list. Do you want to list these?
I guess I'll list them. Batman: The Court of Owls saga, Watchmen, classic, All-Star Superman, Far Sector,
Green Lantern,
yep. Batman Hush, Wonder Woman Earth 1, and
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn and the Gotham City Sirens.
Along with, there's some other ones here like Joker, American Vampire by Scott Snyder, and Catwoman by Ed Brubaker and Darwin Cook, with more to come. Like, I think New Frontier was announced. But this is one thing that they've been boosting, and they're amazing.
Now, I will say, DC is the only one that is doing this, though. So people who want to get into Marvel Comics are out of luck.
And they have to sort of buy trades.
Yeah.
Or some other editions, which we're going to talk about now. So do you want to talk about another edition?
Hold on. You were mentioning about how they have extras, right? In between chapters of One Piece, and about halfway through every book, there is a author's note. Now, in the first one, there might not be one. However, there are many author's notes and Q&As between Ichiro Oda and the fans of One Piece, where they would mail questions in. Like stuff like asking who Luffy's dad is, and stuff like that. If Sanji were to cook a meal, what would be his last meal? Like questions like that to like expand the universe. And there are things like that, like those extras that are in there.
Or what the original thing was, which are in these Marvel Epic collections up here, is that in old 60s comics there were letter pages for fan clubs in New York of them answering some of those questions from letters from fans.
There are, but how expensive are those Epic collections?
The cover price can be around $45-50, but notice the amazing thing that I'm going to love to talk about. Amazon. So, what I've learned on Amazon is that trades can be very, very cheap. So take this Justice League Origin book. Retail right now is $17. But what I've seen is that every time I basically look on Amazon, it can be like $7 to $10 for this book.
What about those Epic collections?
Those can be around $25 to $35 on sale. So
there
like
you go.
you got this for my birthday. This was like what, 25 or 30 on Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
To where you get all this like issues, and it's this nice paper for $30, and it's just amazing with the letter pages and all the detail.
But for $38, you get 3 of these, and 3 of those is 600 pages. Just something to think about. See, the Epic Collection doesn't quite reach that many pages. It peaks at around 440, from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Or 480.
This one is about
480.
Yeah, like 480. But then there's extras where it gets to around 500.
Okay, there's extras in here too.
Yeah, but not as many as a thing, but it's sort of fun to see of these epics, and that's one thing
now,
that's just crazy.
The price differential, and what I'll talk about, is Vagabond right here is $20, and it gets you this. Now compare it to One Piece, which is this. That's a pretty significant difference for $10 more. It really depends on the series, how much bang for your buck you're getting. However, there aren't page numbers, but I can say this is a lot of pages for $20. And sure, it isn't hardcover, it's paperback, but it does have a nice glossy cover, and it has a little inside
Flaps.
little page
Flaps.
marker.
It's like a dust jacket, but not a dust jacket.
Yeah, it's like a attached on.
In like a attached fully, but not like at the library where they like tape them or whatever.
Yeah, that
frustrates.
sucks.
Yeah, that very much frustrates me.
And another comparison would be this Full Metal Alchemist for $20. Is this big. However, it is hardcover, and it is a Full Metal edition, so it's like the best edition you can get.
But another thing is that it has sewn binding, so it is a really nice book.
Oh yeah. You can see it right there, the sewn binding. It's nice. It's really nice. And then also for the price point above that, something like Berserk for this, and it has little faux leather on the front, a lot of pages, It has art at the end of the book.
Don't show pages.
No. But it is a very...
adult-oriented.
Berserk is 100%.
Very much, and it's a nice remat. It used to come out in these in 2003 is when it started.
And then they released those
deluxe
super
editions, which are
$50.
They're about the size of a.
Which are the
around the size of these.
Yeah, it's around the size of.
It's like the exact size of these.
And $50 is about market price for
some deluxe editions.
And also some of those epic collections.
Yeah, for cover price, yeah.
So manga is also well known more a little bit, reaching other countries. So that's also why it gets a lot more sales than comics. But it's also easy to pick up one and know within the continuity that this is the first book, and you know where to start.
Yeah. But now we're gonna dive into our next point, and I'm gonna sort of fight this thing of now getting into manga is very much easier than getting comics, but getting into comics is not very challenging. Like as we've been showing a lot, One Piece, you want to get into One Piece. Hey, I love it. You pick up this number 1, and then you go on 1, 2, 3, and then you go to it's at 105 now, 106, 107.
I think higher than that
of the volumes.
Yeah.
I think it's over 1,000 chapters, but volumes collect a good amount of chapters.
Yeah.
Well, for this, it can be confusing. This is the New 52 Justice League compared to the Rebirth Justice League, which I have behind me.
But I don't know. DC resets pretty frequently, so you might not know which Justice League is what if you're just picking up a Justice League comic for the first time.
But it can be. So what's great is that we have something. It's somewhat easy. So what I'd recommend doing, we have one on our channel. We have our new reader's guide. We don't have a playlist, but it's parts 1 and part 2 where we give you books and we give you strategies for new readers to help you with stuff like this, where you can sort of differentiate initiatives like this or compared to Rebirth, and for Marvel, something like Marvel Now. Of resetting to number 1s. So the rule of thumb here, sort of, is when a book resets to number 1 of a main title, like Hawkeye or Flash, that means that is a good point of jumping on. It might not be a single issue, but it might be a trade. Like a trade 1 normally here means that it's a good jumping on point of a character like Hawkeye, which this is a great jumping on point, and I love this book of jumping onto it, and this is very much inspired by the Hawkeye TV show was very much inspired by this, which is just amazing. So, that's a great thing.
I can agree with that Hawkeye comic. It is very good.
Yeah. Another thing with that is that there's a lot of origins and stuff that can be played with and changed a bit. But I love how there's a lot of definitive sort of character works and origins and stuff. Like, if you're wanting to get into Batman, one of the best ways you can do it is start with, you might know Batman's origin, so you don't need a direct origin, but a great story is over here with Batman The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Now, do you have any other opinions on that?
Not really. I just say it's easier to get into manga than comics if you're just going to pick one off the shelf.
Yeah, but...
So I'd say that's a point to me.
Yeah, that is a point for manga. Now let's talk about oversized editions in comics. So, very often, I've been showing these simple trade paperbacks, what they call them, where they collect 7 of these sort of floppy issues, like a Sarah comic issue, the 3 staples. But now let's talk about these deluxe editions, which are, in fact, bigger than this, or what you can see a good amount behind me, omnibuses. So now omnibuses retail for around in between $75 and $175 actually, where you can have something like this Batman by Grant Morrison here was $75 and I got it for $40 on Amazon because sales are amazing. That's one thing that I love referencing a lot in my videos is how much sales help, where you can get so much. Like another example here is this Teen Titans here by Jeff Johns. where I got that for $80 and it is 1,400 pages. Nice, thick, glossy paper, nicer than a trade paperback. And it's 1,400 pages.
What I will say, I'm going to combat this with the oversized editions. Berserk was released in ones like these, right? But then it went to this. That is almost the exact same thing as what you're talking about.
Yeah.
With making them bigger. And I might add, something like this is bigger than that Grant Morrison Batman. And this is only $50.
But a thing is, again, with the sales. So.
Okay, how much did you get the Grant Morrison Batman one for?
$40.
Really?
Yes.
Well, my logic just got taken down real quick.
I'm checking this on Amazon right now. Okay?
But ones like these, this is $50 right here, Berserk. It's mature, so keep that in mind. Don't go out buying it for your kids or anything. But they also did the same thing with ones like Vinland Saga that released in these hardback ones of 20 that Vinland Saga is a lot longer than these. But they ended up releasing big deluxe editions that were larger and allowed more space for pages and finer details. And they are $50, $40.
Okay, right now I got it for cheaper. Right now it's $52.
Oh, that's...
But I did get it for $40 at the time. But I
Berserk
have to... But
is
hey,
50.
It's $52.
That's $2 over that Berserk was. $2 more.
I know, but 52 gets the funny points. Now I've learned is that every single time I see 52, I instantly think of DC New 52. As of being a comic fan. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's my last point I got on that.
Yeah. Which is just an amazing
All right, on to the next point.
Yeah. Next I think it'll probably be the final part.
Yeah, final part.
Of this video, since we've sort of hit a good amount of the plot points. In this last one, I know I talked about creators changing interpretations, but what about creators of finding other comic books in general, of finding it? So you might be like, hey, I just read this Jeff Johns Justice League book. What am I going to read next? You might be like, more Justice League, but a great thing is when you know good creators, you stick with those creators. You might be like, hey, I read this, I want more Jeff Johns, I need to know. So you could read something like an Image right now. He's working on books like, I think it was Junkyard Joe and Geiger. So you can jump onto that and be like, I love this because I love this creator, not just this group. Or you could buy his Teen Titans Omnibus, which is back there, which is amazing. Another example I love here is Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. That creative team has done a lot of works like Green Lantern Corps, Batman and Robin, Superman, and some of Super Sons is made by both of them. To where they're able to do multiple things.
I will say, now, there are a lot of manga artists and writers that have made more than one. And a couple of those would be the writer and author of Vagabond, Takehiko Inoue, who also did not only Vagabond, but also did Slam Dunk, the basketball anime that was the manga beforehand, but turned into an anime, the adaptation. And Vagabond hasn't been turned into an anime quite yet. I hope it will be at some point. But he wrote two big, well-recognized series, as well as the creator of Hunter x Hunter, which I don't have Hunter x Hunter manga. But the creator of Hunter x Hunter, before he did Hunter x Hunter, made Yu Yu Hakusho, which is another very well-known manga turned anime, just like Hunter x Hunter, which is manga turned anime. So it's not unheard of for many manga creators to have multiple great series, or you could be like Ichiro Oda and stick on the same series for like years.
For your entire,
yeah,
for your entire
life.
working career.
And it's awesome. I mean, he's done amazing work, and it is incredible. But, yeah.
Yeah, It's like they'll ask him, he'll be at his retirement home, what is your greatest achievement in your career? What are your greatest achievements in your career? And he can just sum it up in one word, One Piece. Because that's all he did. And there's just so much strain on him.
Okay, whoa. All he did is kind of crazy. Because One Piece is very good.
I know, it's very good and it's amazing. But it's one thing and he's so stretched. And it's just like...
I don't know about stretched.
He's having to do so much stuff.
Whoa. Calm down. Stretched? I don't know. I don't know about stretched. He had the idea for One Piece since he was young.
I know. But he's sort of like stretched out so much of his like life, and it's like drawn thin of like how much he's done of like.
Yeah, he hasn't really. He's used his creative juices for one cohesive story
thing, and it's sort of
instead of making multiple.
Yeah, and he's like Luffy. He's just like.
He stretches, just like Luffy. He stretches.
He stretched out his stories. That's my thought of Luffy. He's like, I'm gonna stretch out my stories. Oh, that's what I should do. I should make Luffy a stretchy guy. So original.
Whoa, okay. We will talk about this later. I will not take that disrespect on Luffy.
He's like, I know he's awesome, but he's like
whoa.
The sixth stretchy guy.
Okay. If that's all your points you have, we can end the video now.
No. I just add more.
Okay.
It's just like a thing of being able to see more of your creator's stuff where you can sort of click with them. Like, again, Jeff Jones, he's in this Justice League, but he's also done a lot of other works. His Green Lantern is amazing. His Aquaman, even, people say is amazing. Of being able to make definitive runs for characters by great writers, where they're able to do more stuff of more characters that you enjoy. Another example of this is Tom King. He's worked on so many books, Superman Up in the Sky, Supergirl, One of the Tomorrow, his Batman, and a lot of other books that he's had his time of being able to do that he enjoys and not have to write something for a very long time.
Yeah. And I gotta give comics the point for this one because I think they deserve it. Being able to have these multiple writers write different characters and write different character like teams and different illustrators on those same characters is awesome. And I wouldn't take that away for anything because being able to find a good writer for a character that is less well known, like Animal Man.
Yeah.
And being able to have a person to write their story as clear as someone would like a Batman story or a Superman story and really round out the character that not many people really know to become a fan favorite character is really something
how they
special.
evolve. Yeah, like Animal Man with Grant Morrison and how their run is just amazing and how it does. And it has inspired other runs of Animal Man now recently, like the Jeff Lemire run on New 52, which doesn't get enough credit. Jeff Lemire in general doesn't get enough credit for being a comic writer. But, yeah, it's a thing. So I think, does that like 2-1 to comics?
That's 2-1 comics over manga.
I think, yeah, but we have to have a closing thing to say. Is that both of these are pictures and images to, like, pictures of, like, sequential storytelling to tell a story with, like, images with also words and stuff. Where it's just, they're both very similar, where it's just like, read both. They're both amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But we're just debating some differences in what we think is better compared to both. But both of them are still very similar in art forms and should both be respected equally.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that. And also, like, if you like comics, give it a try. If you like manga, give comics a try. Like, they're both bringing someone's fantasy to life.
Yeah,
and having someone write the story that they're passionate about. And that passion and that artistry behind that passion and the illustrations and everything is phenomenal in both cases.
Yeah.
Like, I've fallen in love with manga series and I've fallen in love with comic series. Like, I own the entirety of the Civil War comics, give or take 1 or 2 trades. And it isn't a great Marvel story, but it's one that I like because that's what I grew up reading at that time. We went to Universal, and I was able to figure out and talk with one of the guys who was wearing a Future Foundation Cyclops costume. And he goes, "Wow, you know Future Foundation." And I was like, "Yeah, I love Future Foundation."
Was it Future Foundation? I thought it was more of a standard, it was Astonishing X-Men.
It was Future Foundation.
It was Astonishing X-Men, I remember it vividly.
It was not Astonishing X-Men, it was Future Foundation.
It was that specific.
He is putting lies he is spreading. It was Future Foundation.
I get lying.
You were too young to remember.
Fine, I guess I was like 5.
But going in and picking out the Civil War comic and reading it, it was really cool seeing how all these characters came together in a crossover event like that. Same thing with like House of M. Being able to tie in a bunch of these beloved characters into one event really meant something. And having those writers and illustrators effectively communicate those passions through their writing and illustrating, and how they work through the characters, and how the characters work through themselves, and the world building and everything, is I'm gonna say it, it's a marvel how they do it. Like,
it's marvelous.
It's marvelous. And I can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
I'm a creative, but I'm not that good. They're both forms of really high art.
Yeah.
And they tug on your heartstrings. They make you feel things, which is
awesome,
crazy, because you can find yourself feeling bad or mad or sad over paper.
Or connected to characters, like having, like Daredevil, like you might not be blind, but Daredevil's life is always like a mess. Mm-hmm. And another thing that we're just going to quickly touch on is genres, and how much like vast genres can get to, like from like superhero action to thriller, horror, slice of life, noir, can be in both of them expertly. Like slice of life was mainly a manga thing, but now DC, and I guess we forgot getting into is indie books as well. I need to quickly mention that indie books are easier to get into. Like Invincible, you start from one, you go on, and it's amazing with that great TV show. But stuff like the new webtoon comics from DC over the last few years, they give a slice of life take on stuff like Batman and his supporting characters, which flesh them out of stuff like them fighting for the last cookie, of where if no one gets injured on patrol, Alfred makes like an entire thing of cookies and stuff, and like pastries, and his world famous award-winning cookies are always like one of the main things, and the end is just them fighting over it.
Yeah.
Is that entire like, I don't know how many panels, but it's really fleshing out the characters and amazing.
And that being said, with all those genres, there's always a comic for somebody, or there's always a manga for somebody, or there's always a animated TV show for somebody. Like, I liked Brave and the Bold. I was a really big fan of Brave and the Bold when I was younger, because it introduced those little-known characters that not many people talked about. Like, my favorite episodes is the Metal Men. I love the Metal Men. Yeah. And they're such cool characters, and they're made off the elements, and then they have the gases that they fight off the periodic table. But I wouldn't have known about those characters because I grew up in the age where those characters weren't big. They weren't what DC was producing.
They still aren't big.
Okay, they still aren't big, but I love them. Okay?
They're wacky and fun, okay? They're
wacky
awesome. And they're fun, and they also introduced stuff like, that was the first appearance ever of a non-comic appearance of Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle. And like the second episode of that show, along with giving characterizations of Green Arrow and Aquaman. Yeah. Which was rarely seen.
Bringing in the other media and stuff is a really good gateway to comics, as well as anime is to manga, or vice versa.
Like we were mentioning Invincible as well.
Yeah. And shows like One Piece, shows like Naruto, shows like Hunter x Hunter will encourage people to go out and seek those stories, especially ones that are being animated currently and they can't get it besides read it. Stuff like Blue Lock, stuff like Solo Leveling, even though that's a little bit different and that's not necessarily classified as a manga, but that's a complete different thing. Yeah, it's stuff like that. There's always a story for somebody, and You just need to know what people like to recommend a story to them. But there's something out there.
Yeah.
And there's... Yeah. I can't even... I don't even know what I was going to say.
I don't think there's really anything else to say. I think we've covered it all.
We've covered every base, I'm pretty sure. Or at least most of them. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to just talk about them.
And,
drop them in the comment section.
And this video will probably be out before the Q&A that we do. Our 100 subscriber Q&A. So ask questions down for the Q&A in the comments, which would be amazing. We're also going to make a community post and go through that to answer questions. So.
And because finals week is over for me at college, I will be helping Alex make some more videos and be appearing. He's my brother, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of what he has gone so far. And thank you guys for subscribing.
Thank you, guys.
Is that...
Yeah, and, well, thank you all for watching. Until next time, goodbye.